Good evening, everyone. It is currently cold again in April. That's why I'm in a hat. So I'm about to pre-record a whole whopping bunch of videos again, just because I have a bunch of things to sort of talk about, and I figured I might as well do them all at once, or else I'll forget. So this one, the first big one I'm going to be talking about, is that tonight I did something really special, you guys. So Jenny Han, the YA author of the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy, is apparently from my hometown. Like, this is her hometown. So she did the first stop on her book tour today for To All the Boys I've Loved Before. And so I got to go and see her speak and hear her read the first page of the book and get a cookie recipe from the book. And you guys, she signed my book. I'm so excited. I will also add, she made brownies and she brought them and they were delicious. And the weather was horrible, so I was really glad there were brownies. I haven't yet started this book. I'm literally about to. I'm so excited. I'm probably going to power through this. But I'm going to show you some of the footage that I shot with, like, my iPhone, so it's not very good quality footage or anything. Figured I'd kick off this sea of me pre-recording tons of videos with some fun stuff that I shot as part of her talk. I will give a warning that my iPhone actually ran out of room in the middle of her talking because I forgot I still had audiobooks on it, so it was, you know, a whole bunch of space was taken up. But there's still some cool stuff, so I hope you enjoy, and don't forget to go pick up To All the Boys I've Loved Before.
Coming out today in this horrible weather. This is my book, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which is out today. Very exciting for me. And it's about a girl who writes love letters to boys when she's trying to get over them. And they're secret love letters that she writes. They're just for her to sort of express all her emotions and say all her secret thoughts and observations. And so she writes the letters, and I used to do this. This is how I got the idea. I have several. And then, like, pages and pages long, and then she seals them up and puts them in an envelope, and then she puts them in her hat box that her mother gave her before her mother passed away. And it's just like her secret little thing that she does for herself. And it's great until junior year of high school, fast forward, and they all got sent out to people. And, you know, she's been doing it for years now, so there's 5 of them dating back to middle school. So, you know, she's really freaked out by this, naturally. And she's sort of a girl who I think of a bit of as a throwback kind of a character. She really likes to knit and bake, which is why I bake those brownies, and be homey. And she's into, like, you know, fashion, but she likes to be with her sisters. She's the kind of girl who likes to be at home with her sisters and just be cozy. And she's just really comfortable with that. That's her. And I was inspired a lot by Little Women and thinking about just the comfort of that, of just being at home. And so that's her. I'm going to read a little bit from the beginning, short and sweet, to give you a little taste of what is to come. And then I will answer questions if anybody has any. I'll read short because I feel like I always get bored when I go to reading when people go on for a long time. So that's just from the prologue. And as the story begins, her oldest sister, Margot, is leaving for college to go to abroad, to Scotland. And Laura Jean is the middle sister, and then she has a little sister named Kitty. And it's always been the 3 of them because their mom died when she was quite young. And so in a lot of ways, her older sister Margot is like a mother figure to her, even though they're only a couple years apart. And so she feels very sad and kind of lost and doesn't really know what to do without her older sister there to, like, help guide her and make decisions. And so it's sort of like, as the story begins, her sister is leaving, she's sort of in charge, and suddenly now her whole world is opened up when these letters are sent out. And so it's a lot of people coming up to her asking her what this is all about. And it's kind of, you know, mortifying for someone like her who's such a inside kind of person. But it's been really, it was fun to write, and as I said, it's sort of based a bit on my own experiences, and I think as a YA author, I often draw from my own experiences. And that one was one where I would like a boy, and I would be really, really, like, into him, and I would be like, I gotta get over this, I need some closure. So I'd write a really long letter, and, you know, it'd be kind of like angry, sort of. It would be like, you're a terrible person, but then it would be like, but you're really, like, charming as well. And so you know, just pour it all out onto the page, and then I would just seal it up and put it away. And so I still have all these letters too, and I still have the hat box. I was gonna bring one and read a little from it, but it was just too embarrassing. I took a look at it, I'm like, oh, I can't. It's too much. And so I think, you know, writing young adult, it's great for me because I often am tapping into a lot of those experiences, and it's partly why I like a teen narrator so much. I think it's just such a great time for natural drama, and a time of a lot of like firsts happening, and usually the firsts are the most interesting, I think. First and last. You know, the middle kind of is a little bit of a blur, but the first, no one ever forgets, like, you know, their first love, the first time they had the first time they drove, and that kind of thing, so.
You said this is based on your personal life?
A little bit.
How many letters have you written?
I have, I have 4.
So 4 boys?
Yeah. Yep. Starting from, you know, like 9th grade, I guess, through college. It's very cathartic, and in a way, it's like my books have become that for me because I'm able to just write a lot about past memories and things. And it, you know, it's fiction, so it's all the characters are their own, but I think the emotions hopefully are universal. And I think of it like kind of like method writing. You know, they say like method acting. You know, when actors have to cry in a scene and then they're like trying to remember something really sad, like their dad dying or something, and then they are able to like get the tears going. And I think for me, I'm writing a scene and I'm sort of drawing from old stuff, and I'm able to channel that into the book. And in a way, it's great because I think no experience is a bad experience, because everything that you go through in life, you can use it for your art. You know, and so it's like the worst moments become moments that hopefully other people can read and relate to and, you know, connect with. My mom's telling me to slow down. I'm a fast talker, even more so since I live in New York, I think. Talks fast.
How long did you spend writing the book? Like, when did you start to flesh out the idea? I guess you can, I'll let you answer that. anyway.
Okay. Well, you know, I would love to have like a full year to work on a book or more. I think most writers feel like you're never quite done. You could keep, you know, futzing with it forever. But, you know, for me, this book, in some ways it's all a blur, because I was working on this as I was finishing up Fire with Fire, which is the second book in the Burn for Burn trilogy that I co-wrote with my friend Siobhan Vivian. And, you know, it was difficult because I was doing 2 things at once, and you still have to meet your deadlines, though. So I would say this probably was more like of actual writing time. Maybe it was more like between 6 and 8 months, but I've been thinking about the story for a really long time.
Yeah.
And that's how it is usually with me. It takes a long time to sort of gestate and, you know, form in my head. And then when I get going, you know, it's almost like, I think, having papers due in college, you know, and suddenly it's like the night before, and you're like all night long, you know, and then suddenly you have like bursts of energy and like genius, and then, yeah. So yeah, I wish I had longer, and especially, I'm sure you guys know with series, you know, people expect them to come out every year, you know, and people would be upset. And they go, even a year feels like a long time, I think, to readers. And I'm the same way. Like, if I'm watching Game of Thrones or Scandal or something, I don't want to wait, you know, a whole other year for the show to come back on air again, you know. And I think now people have become really impatient for stories. And I heard the publishers are even changing the way they do that in some ways and having it come out faster. But, you know, like Netflix, when you watch a series all at once in a way, too, you want to gobble it up like this. And people are expecting that experience. But for me, I think the more time you have, the more time you can really work on the story, and you don't want to short shrift the story, and you really want to do your best. So I would always prefer more. I'm working on the sequel to this now, called P.S. I Still Love You, and that will, it's supposed to come out next April, but I don't really, I mean, I don't know. It will,
Yeah.
if by hook or by crook, it'll come out. If that means my publisher has to get it late, then, you know. 'Cause I'm on the road as well, promoting this book while I'm trying to work on a new one. So it's always like that.
How many countries, or do you have tell us more about your national?
Okay, yeah, well, Summer Turned Pretty series has been translated into, I think, maybe 20-some different languages, which is really exciting. It does really well. I think in like Europe, and then also random like smaller countries like Sweden, and then big ones like Germany and like China. So it's always exciting to see it in a different cover, and just thinking about the different covers that appeal to different cultures. You know, it's not always what you would think the American tastes are. So I kind of take a backseat on that stuff and let them decide how it's going to look. And for this, they let me come on the photo shoot, and I like all these little pictures here. A lot of them I cut out because I wanted them on the wall. And they have a prop designer who does the whole thing, and they set it up. So this was in some guy's apartment, but you can't even tell by looking at it. They did such a good job of really creating the space and making it feel like a real girls' room. So I've been lucky with that. It's very rare to be allowed to go on a photo shoot because a lot of times the authors will be like, I don't like this, I don't like that, and they just try to like stick their foot in it too much. And you know, they're the professionals, they're the artists. But then I just go and say, like, I don't like that sweater. We try something else, and I'll bring some stuff too. So.
When you sit down to write like a book, are you given like how long it needs to be, or is that?
No, I'm not really given anything. I think, like for this, I just told him like a one sentence idea I had for it, and then I sold it off of that idea. Because I've been publishing books with Simon & Schuster for so long that they really trust me, and it was almost like a blank contract. You know, so whatever I want to do next, they're happy with. So I sit down and I don't really outline anything. I just kind of, you know, start thinking, and sometimes it's harder that way because you don't know when you're going to be inspired. But sometimes you just have to force it. But for me, I just write for whatever I think feels right for the scene.